Hello everyone, welcome back to my first live stream. I hope you are all doing well. First of all, thank you so much for joining me today. Whether you're watching this live or catching the replay later, I really appreciate you spending your time here. This is actually something I wanted to do for quite a while. Most of my videos are carefully edited, so usually you only get to see the finished version. But instead, this time I thought to do something different. I thought I'll just edit some of my projects live with you. So I just want you people to engage with me and watch this live stream along with me and learn something with me. And this is my first live stream, so I'm thinking I'll do a After Effects project which I did a long ago, and so I might go wrong in this project again, and I have not done this kind of things, and this is first time because I don't know what to speak and how to speak very well. So every time whenever I do some of the videos, I write down the script and practice or just think through it and shoot it in front of my camera or in front of my tutorials. But this time I just thought I'll do something different. So here I am doing a live stream with you. So first and foremost, since this is my first live stream, I might make mistakes. So forgive me for that, and I'll improve for the next time. And since I'm doing After Effects, so I've already opened up the project. This is what I had done a while ago, actually. So this is all about the keystroke generators. So if you want to use any kind of keystrokes in your tutorial videos, so since I used to edit a lot of tutorial videos, every time what I have to do, I have to do it in After Effects for every stroke. So I just thought a bit, so why I don't make a keystroke generator After Effect Mogult which I can reuse again and again, so I don't have to render each keystroke every time. So for example, so if I am editing in a Premiere Pro, so I can use the motion graphics template and redo the like input the keys, and I just get the rendered video over there. So here you can see this is already finished project. So but don't worry, I'm gonna redo the whole project again for you guys, and make sure that this tutorial is for the beginner to moderate people, where I'll be using some of the expressions, and all the expressions will be linked in my description after this stream ends. So first of all, I'll guide you through this After Effects. So here I have a project, so I've already saved it in my SSD. So here you can see the essential graphic tab, and here are the main timeline, and this is the composition master viewer, and this is the composition viewer, and this is the project panel, and here are the tools. And I hope if you're watching this After Effects means you might be knowing little bit about the After Effects, so I'll not be going through the whole thing about the After Effects from scratch. So since I already built, so I'll show you how this keystroke was for the first. So you can see here this, I'll just play this. So you can see there are three keys, that is Command, Shift and V, playing back and forth. So what is happening here, I have actually had a command, that is Command Shift V, to press while I'm doing tutorials. So every time I wanted to press that Command Shift V, I'll have to render and put it into a project, and there will be lot of keys like that, so combination of keys. So instead of that, what I thought, I'll just do a project. So here is Command Shift V, that is 3 strokes now, 3 keystrokes. So if you want to increase to 5 keystrokes, then just by selecting the visible key in essential graphics, and make sure that this all the essential graphics tab I had built it myself. So I'll show you that thing in this tutorial. So first of all, there are 5 keys I had selected. So, and every key I have a drop down menu in which you can select whichever the key you want. For example, the first key I'm selecting option instead of command. So immediately it will show the option key here. And same as for the key 2, if I press tab, it will show a tab icon here. So same as like that for the third key and the fourth key and the fifth key. Alright, so this is about the key. Now let's move on to appearance. So I'll just close this drop down. Sorry. And for appearances, if I select a fill color, that is gray now, if I change it to something else like something peach color, and if I press OK, you can notice immediately all the key colors will be changed. Same as the stroke color. If you want to select the stroke color to something red, and if you press OK, and immediately you can see the strokes has been changed. So this is fully customizable motion graphic template. So if you want to change the width of the stroke, so you can change like this, or if you want to change the corner radius, you can change like this, or maybe like this. Or if you want to change the width of the key, that is the width like this. I'll just reduce the stroke for your reference. If you want to change the width, if you want to make it thinner or wider, so you can even change that thing. And the next one is the key height. So if you want to change the height of the keys, if you want to make it smaller or something like this, so you can even change it like this. Okay, I'll show you how to change the text now, since this text is not fitting in this key. So here I have given a control for that also, so that you can change the text size to fit inside that keys. Or if you want to increase the text size or icon size, you can increase it either way. Alright, I'll just undo it and I'll show you some more things in this. Okay, so if you want to change the key opacity, so if you want to make the key to be little transparent, so you can do that too. So here I had given a key opacity control for that. So if you want to change the opacity to some, say 50%, so if you are not able to see here, I'll just enable the transparency. So here you can see the transparency is there. So if you want to export this into alpha file, so that time you can able to change the opacity and export into a transparent video. So if you want to increase it to 100%, you can obviously increase. Perfect. And what if you want to change the text color? So here I have a control for that too. So if you want to change the text color to something like sky blue, I'm not sure which color is that exactly to be, but yeah, you can do that too. So here I had kept some default color, that is gray and white. I'll just toggle off the transparency. So here you can see, and you can see the animation going on, that is intro and outro. Perfect. So now we have got this much. So let's start building from the beginning. So I'll keep this master file here only, so that if I make any mistakes, I can just go back to that and check whether I have done any mistakes and get back to the tutorial. Alright, So now I'll close this essential graphics and go back to the effects control default. So now first of all we will need two comps, that is one master comp and that is one key comp. So I'll keep a comp key, key comp. I'll create a composition by pressing command N. So when I press command N, you will get a new composition setting. So I'll name it as master comp and make sure that these are all, and make sure whenever we are linking any layer to this comp, this layer name will be very important. So don't just name something else. Make sure that you name things intentionally. Okay, so what I am doing here, I'm just naming this comp as master comp so that it will differentiate from the original comp which I had created here. So for that I'll not select any presets down here because I specifically want a different size of the comp. So that is 1200, that is 1200 pixels width and 300 pixels height. So here I'll be selecting the default, that is square pixel, and I'm keeping this frame rate to be 60 to make sure that the frames looks very smoother when after I render and if I'm adding those things to any of the projects. So now resolution you can set anything depending on your system capacity. So I'll keep it here as full since I'm recording and live streaming, and the duration you can set it to 10, but I'll keep it as short as possible, that is 5-second duration. So background color, it can be anything. For example, I'll just make it as a gray background and click OK. And this background will not affect the render color, since this is just a background color for our reference. So I'll press OK. So this is our master comp. And one more comp I'll create, that is by pressing command N, I'll name it as key comp. And I'll give a underscore and make it as key comp 01 because here we will be making 5 key comps, and that key comp resolution will be, the width will be 300 and height also will be 300, that is square comp. So since square pixels, I'll select as a pixel aspect ratio, and frame rates will be 60, and same as the duration will be 5 seconds. And the background colors, everything I'll keep as it is. I'll just change the width of this composition to 300 since the keys will be of squared. So the width and height will be 300. So once you press OK, you'll have one more comp, that is key comp underscore 01. So what we are doing here is, first of all, we'll have to think through that, like what and all things we need to include in this project. For example, if your need is to make for Windows, that is Control Shift and Windows keys and all, those all need to be added here. So for in my case, if I'll be using command option Control Shift caps lock escape and enter and those kind of stuffs, I'll be adding here, including A to Z letters and 1 to 0, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 0, and function button, that is F1 F2 up to F12, and colon, comma, point, slash, forward slash, backward slash, and etc etc etc. Even space also I'll be adding as a key. So make sure that you add all of the keys. So before that, I'll go through some of the things. So first of all, what and all I'll need. So I'll go back to my master comp. So I'll see here. So here we'll be needing a rectangular, and that too I'll add a rounded rectangular, and in that we'll be adding lot of icons like that. And also before that, I'll be adding two null layers. That null layers will be, first I'll go to master comp, and here by right clicking, go to new and create a null object. So this null object will control the color of the fonts, color of the keys, and height and width of the keys, and everything which is mattering for us. For example, here you can see in master, if I select style, you can see all the effects here, that is fill color, stroke color, stroke width, and these all are already there in our essential graphics, where you can see fill color, stroke colors, and these properties I'll be adding into the master comp. So I'll go back to master comp and rename it to style. Okay, and by selecting this layer, by selecting this null layer, I'll just holding command and I'll double click on this pan behind tool. So what it will do is it will move this anchor point to the center of this null layer. You can see it again, that I'll just double click it and it will move to the center. So I'll click V and then I'll align it to the center. Now I'll duplicate this layer by pressing command D and I'll name it as something like layout. Alright, so in styles I'll be adding few of the effects. What and all effects we will be needing to for this keystroke generator to be done. So I'll be adding some of the effects here. So by pressing command and return button or command and enter, you'll open up the quick apply panel. So here I'll search, that is first one is color control. And by pressing enter, you will get this effect will be applied on this layer, that is style layer. So here I'll change this layer name to key color, and then I'll duplicate this again and I'll name it to stroke color, and again I'll duplicate this thing too, and then I'll change it to text color. So now we had added 3 color controls, and now I'll again add slider controls. And here for slider control, I'll name this slider control as, first one is text size, second one is key height, third one is key width, and fourth one is gap, and seventh one will be corner radius and stroke width. And one more will be opacity, key opacity. After adding these many effects, I'll rearrange them so that it will be easier for us to follow along. So first I'll keep key color as it is and stroke color as it is. Then I'll move, the next one is stroke width. So stroke width and the corner radius will be often changing. And then I'll keep the text color at the last, because that is very least will be changing, and just above that I'll add the text size, and then above that key opacity. And actually what I'll do is I'll just cut this gap and add it down to layout. So here you can see all the properties that I had showed you in essential graphics before. So I have added everything here. The next, okay, next what I'll do is I'll just keep these things as it is, and then I'll go to layout, and here I'll just add one more effect, that is drop down menu. And now what I'll name it as visible keys. What this will do is it will make sure that how many keys should be visible at a time. So for example, I'll just rename it I'll just rename the items inside this key visible keys by clicking the edit just beside the reset. So if I press edit here, I'll get a drop down menu option. So here you can just edit these items. For example, I'll just say one key, and I'll say 2 keys, and here I'll say 3 keys, and next I'll say 4 keys, and then 5 keys. Why I'm naming 1 2 3 4 5 keys means we will be building a system where we'll need 5 keys at least, 5 keys maximum. So here I named 1 key, 2 keys, 3 keys, 4 keys, and 5 keys. And once I press OK, we'll have all the 5 keys as a drop down. Alright, so this I'll add it to layout. So as of now, the work of the master comp is done. So now let's go back to the key component. So here what I am doing is, first I'll build a rectangle. So I'll not just create a rectangle, I'll create a rounded rectangle too. So here what I'll do is I'll just draw a rectangle, rounded square, just by holding shift. Once it's there, I'll just press V on my keyboard, and then it's already centered, you can see, but I'll just make sure that it's there again, and I'll click V on my keyboard and go to align, and then make sure that it's intact center. Perfect. So if you're not able to see the rectangle like this, sometimes this fill may be none. So make sure you go back to the fill and make it solid color, and even for the stroke, so make it solid color. Perfect. So press OK. So as of now, no need to worry about the colors, and if you want to make sure that if it is black or something, you can change it to anything so that it's visible in our working comp right now. So I'll just make things like this. So I'll just keep it as black as a stroke color and white as a fill color. So once we are here, so what I'll do is I'll just create a text layer. So right click on anywhere here, and then go to new and create a text. So here you'll have to write any of the key, for example A. So make sure it is exactly center again, and how much of a size you want, you can change it by going to the properties of the text. I'll just change it to 180 as of now, and I'll make this anchor point to be center of this letter. So by how to do that, there is a just simple trick that I just showed you before. Just select the layer and hold command on your keyboard and double click this icon. So it will immediately center this anchor point to this text layer. So once that's done, press V to select the selection tool and go to align and center align. Okay, so once you got this, now things gets little tricky. So what we are doing is, here we have to multiply these layers several times and then rename it like A, B, C, and D, E, F, G, like that. So what you have to do here is you have to do it from above. So first letter always should be A, and then B, then C, then D, like that. A, B, C, D, E, F. So what I'll do is I'll just make things little simpler now. So instead of me just doing this now, I'll do this thing later, because we'll have to add some of the expressions to this text layer. So first copying, duplicating everything and naming, and then applying the effect might be little tedious. So what I'll do is first I'll add all the effect to this first text layer, then I'll just duplicate so that all the layers will have the same properties as the layer A. So before that, what I'll do is I'll delete these remaining layers and I'll keep this text layer first, and then I'll create one more null layer here, so that is null object, and I'll name it as, forgot, that is key control. Key control. So what will happen here is, for this key will control which the key is enabled as at that time. So what I'll do is I'll just select this key control again, and I'll recenter this like so. So what will happen here is you can hide this key control. Now I'll add one more drop down menu. So by pressing command enter on your keyboard, now search for drop down menu control. Now apply that thing. So once you apply here, so I'll name it as something selected key. So what this will do is it will select the key, the particular key which we have selected in the master comp. So I'll rename it as selected key here. So here we will have to add items name. The items names will be from this key. For example, if we are having A to Z letters in this, and 0 to 10, and then F1 to F12, and command, control, caps lock, tab, and escape, and so and so and so. So these keys will be added into this selected key control. So next up, what I'll do is I'll add some of the expressions here. So don't worry, I'll just give all the expressions sheet for you to download in my description box below. So just it will be added just after the stream. Alright, so what I'll do here is, because since I'm not a coder and I don't know much of the keys properly, but I understand the logic of the keys, how that should be linked and what it should be done. So instead of just typing those key expressions all the way from the beginning, I'll just copy it, and that will be available for you too. So I'll go to the key 1, that is my old project. So here I'll just select this, the first letter, and double press
It's 22:30.
E. So it will show the expressions which and all the expressions are and applied for the which effect. So what I am doing is, first there is a fill color for the text A, and there is also a scale expression and the opacity expression for this key. So what I'll do is I'll just select this expression. I'll show you how to apply expression also. I'll just select this expression. You can directly copy it from the expression sheet after this live stream. So I'll go back to the key comp, and then what I'll do, I'll select this text layer and press command enter, and I'll add a fill color, and once I press return, fill color will be added. So what I'll do is I'll just hold this layer and select the fill, and there is a stopwatch icon just beside the color. By holding option you can press this stopwatch icon, it will open the expression window. So here I'll just paste the expression and think this is not done yet. So here what we have to do is, you can see the comp master. So the comp master is the original master which I had created earlier, but in your case if you're building with me using the master comp names and key comp underscore 01 name, then what I want you to do is, I want you to change the text inside this comp. That is, instead of master, I'll add master space comp, and I'll press, it should be like that, and make sure this space underscore and the capital letters everything is sensitive. So you'll have to change it properly and make sure this name and this name matches. So next up I want to make sure that this effect should be affected from the comp, the style layer from this master comp. Can you see this key color here or the text color here? So I want to link this text color to the layer from this key comp 01. So what I am doing here is I am just adding an expression. That expression will be a comp close parenthesis and hyphen and then master comp and then dot layer, and instead of style what I'll do is here you can see this style is in small letter, only the first letter S is capital and the rest is small letter. So I'll change this style to be S capital TYLE. This will be this much, and this is not done yet. Since you can see the text color in this I am having a COLOUR, so I'll have to change that thing too, because everything is sensitive in this. So instead of just text color, what I'll do, text space COLOUR. So now you can see this is completely linked, and here there is no caution. So just before that we are having this symbol here which is indicating that there is an error in an expression applied. So make sure that this error you don't get, else this will not work properly. So what I want you to do is go through properly and rename everything very well, and that should be very intentional. So you have to rename everything intentionally, and you have to, if you don't remember the things, you can just directly copy from this layer and paste it there. That's it. So once you are done, I'll just change it back to color. So once you are done, if this caution signs goes, then things are going well. So you can just go back to your master comp and check whether this is working or not by changing any color. So here you can see this color has been changed successfully. So this is the first step of this automation, and we are not done yet. I'm just changing it where I want. So now after changing that color, you can see again we got back to the same gray color. So this is one thing. So now again this we applied for the fill color. Now what I want you to do is, again what I want is, whenever we select a key here, the item, for example letter A, letter B, letter C and commands and everything, so whenever we select that thing, it should be applied on this. So for that we have to go to the opacity control of this layer. That too, by pressing T you will open up opacity. But before that, what I'll do, I'll just add a scale property first. Scale property will be controlled by this text size. Got it? So before that, I'll change this text size to be 100. Okay, so the 100 will be the default text size, that this one. So I'll go to the my old master key comp here. So I'll just select the text style here. So I'll explain about that thing. So before applying, so you have to just select the layer, press S on your keyboard to reveal the scale property, and then hold option, then click on the stopwatch and then paste this property. So here what is happening here is S means scale. The scale is equal to, means it has to be pointed from the master comp, same as that color property. So now we have to make sure that this style comp, this scale property is picking from the style layer from the master comp, that is style layer. Now the effect should be the text size. So this is already there. So if you want to make sure what you have typed, you just have to go here, text size, and press enter and copy, and then enter, and again come back to this main expression and change this expression like this. Since this is a slider control, so this scale will be depending on this slider, and this S is are 2 dimensions. That means the S, the one dimension S, and the another dimension should be also S, means we are not changing this dimension here. So next up, what here happened is, go back to the master comp, then change the size now, for example 150%. So now you can see here the text size is larger than before. Same as if you want to make it smaller, you can just type it into 50, and then you can see the text size has been changed. Alright, so I'll just make this 200 again. So now I just forgot to say one thing. So what I want you to do is, before adding any text here, don't just add some random font. So I want you to add some of the only font that Inter is the good font, because it has lot of icons which I'll be using here as command, options, control, shift and all, and other icons also. And there are some few fonts actually. I'll list down that in my description box. So here I'm intentionally selecting this font Inter because I can use the icons here. So, and next up I'll keep it as bold because that's how I like it to be seen. If you want to change it to thin or something else, you can change. There is nothing bad in that, and you can do whatever the settings you want, but just do before you duplicate the comps. Before you duplicate these layers. So next up, after you're doing this, so what I want you to do is, now I want you to duplicate this layer as much as possible. So I'll make some 20 layers as of now for this tutorial purpose, and then I'll change this text to B, C, D, E, F. Rename like so. So I want you to rename so that text also changes in this. So hope you can see here, you can see the text also changing. So since it's overlapped, you might not be able to see it properly. So just make sure that you are adding the text inside those layers. You are not just changing the layer name. I want you to double click this layer so that it changes the text here. So just I'll rename everything and I'll add the text in that. So I'll change all the text, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L, M, N, O, P, Q R S and so on. S T sorry yes T U V W X Y. Z. So once you are done this, so now you go back to the numbers. So like so. Now press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Same as like that. That is F1. Sorry, F1, F2. First you add, later you can decide where and all it had went wrong. So now you can see I have added those things here. So instead of this, I'll just copy and then I'll paste it here. Oh sorry, and just copy this thing, cut this thing and then I'll paste it here. That will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and that is 11 12. So once you have these function keys also, I want you to duplicate these things again so that we can add some more layers. That is first one, command. So if you want to add a command icon, I'll just highlight this thing. If you want to add a command icon, so what I want you to do is just go back to this, what is that, keyboard, input keyboard settings. So here you can open keyboard settings and you can select the whichever the keys you want. But here you can see there is one setting called show emoji and symbols. Once you press that, it will open a new window like this. So here we have technical symbols. If you can't see this technical symbols, just go back to this 3 dot in the circle and then customize list, and then here you can see, after scrolling down here you can see the technical symbols. So you have to just check that thing. So once you checked in, then you press done. So here you will have all the icons. For example, command, escape, enter, return, eject, tab, caps lock, shift, control, and option, space and control. And you will have a backspace and everything. So whichever the command you want. So what I want you to do is first double click this layer and now select this character viewer. And once you select this character viewer, here you will see the font variation. So you'll have to just double click this. So once you double click, sorry, why it's not working, interesting. Let me just toggle it again. Okay, yeah. So here if I go to technical symbols, here I can see some of the fonts name, anonymous, pro bold or something like that. So I'll just select something like this and I'll just double click this. It should come, not sure why it's not coming. It's looking interesting. Yeah, I double click now and now it came here. So if you want me to show it again, I'll just show it to you. Just double click here and just directly immediately you'll have to click on this icon, not anywhere, like not tab, not anywhere. I just want you to just double click and double click on this. That's it. And the next one, I'll go to F15. I'll select Here I want to add an enter icon, that is written symbol here. So you can select anything like this. So now again for the next one it will be option key, that to this one. So I'll just double click and you'll have the option key, same as like this for the escape key. Perfect. So like this, so on you'll have to do for all the keys. Since I have done this thing and it will take a lot of time for me to show it in this live stream, so what I'll do is I'll just copy it directly from my list over here, and then what I'll do, I'll just take it from command to this F1 and F2. You can add up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, anything you want. So any of these icons. So what I'll do is I'll just select from command to this function menu or up and right arrows. Then I'll go back to the key comp and I'll just delete this thing, and then I'll place it just below the F12. Perfect. And then after that again I'll just go back and I'll just select this punctuation and symbols, that is plus, minus, equal, forward slash, backward slash, and hyphen, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and so on. I might have missed a lot of icons in this, but still. So after this I want you to, sorry, I might not have copied it very well. So first I'll select this plus and then tilde and then press command C, then open key comp 01, and then I'll just click this right arrow and just below that I'll paste these things and move this right arrow up. So here you can see I have 77 layers to be exact. So I'll just do one thing, confirm here, so that most of the time I'll not be using this F1 to F9, F1 to F12. So instead I'll just move this command and right arrow to above F1, and by that what I'll have is, so A to Z here, and then 1 to 0, and then command and all the icons, and then up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, and right arrow, and then the function keys and those symbols. And I want you to make sure that this all layers to be in the exact order, because here order matters a lot. And now after you have done this thing and you have bought things so far, so now I want you to select all the keys, and now again double click on this icon by holding command. So what it will do is it will recenter, it will make all the anchors of all the text to be at exact center, so that whenever we are scaling it up or scaling it down in the afterwards, though that time the keys won't be moving here and there. So this is the one. So once you have selected and recentered its anchor point to the center of its layer, that time I want you to go to the align, and instead of selection here I want you to select it to a composition and then make it exact center. Now what I want you to do is select each layer and just isolate those layer and this shape layer. So just check whether these letters are not going beyond this rectangle. So by checking that, what it will happen is it will make sure that you are not missing any of the icons and you are not seeing any of the icons go beyond its what do you say, that rectangle. So here what I am doing is I am just disabling this expression from the last option here. So I'll just take this icon. That's interesting, not sure why it's happening. Anyway, so I just want you to make sure that these icons just don't go beyond its rectangle. So once you double click it, so since I had copied it from the old master comp, some of the expressions have already added to this comp, so I'll not disturb that thing here. So instead of that, I'll just show it on here. So since we have f1 and f2, so I'll just make sure that this f1 is actually bigger than this a. So I'll just keep this a as a reference. I'll just scale it down. Instead of scaling it down, what I'll do is I'll just reduce the font size to 150, and that applies to all of this. So let's just reduce to 150. So once you are done here, just select all the layers and isolate them, and again you'll have to center this anchor point to the layer and then center to the comp. So by doing that, you will see all this f1 and f2 are properly fit. Or if you want to make it little more smaller, you can do that. I'll just make it f12. This is f11. This is f10. Sorry, I forgot to do this thing actually. f9 this is, and this is f8. This is f7, f6, f5, f4, f3. This is f2. So now you can check this thing. So now you can see this f10 layer is going beyond this thing. So what I want to do is here, I'll just reduce the distance between this f10 to -50, and then I'll just reduce the size a bit more. That too, I'll keep it as 100. So and same for this also, or else what I'll do is that will not look good. So I'll just keep this size same it is, just reduce the size to 100, and this also reduce it to 100. And then again recenter them as shown like this. So now you can see all the layers fit inside this properly. Don't worry, this icon will show up once I create a drop down. So now what I want you to do is, I want you to select this key control and then rename the items exactly in the same order. So once you select this selected key and press edit on this, then you will open up the drop down menu. Now first layer is key control. So when I select a key control, I don't want you to rename this as A for the first one. I want you to rename it as none. So in case if you want to show something, in case if you don't want to show nothing, so that time you will have to select this none layer. So the next item will be A, next will be B, and continue like this: C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Interesting, I missed something here. So you can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. So that is, I'll just select Q. After this, I'll just select R here, and I'll just move this thing just below Q. You'll have Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Perfect. So after this, I want you to rename the numbers as exactly as it is. So now here, just again go back to the edit, select the last one, that is 27th one. Now again press on plus icon so that you'll add an extra drop down and rename it to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 0. And after that, you can see after 0 we have command. So instead of just adding the symbol, let's rename it as command. Next one is option. You can see here after command there is option, and that is control. And next one is shift, and after that you'll see a escape button. And next up, after escape you'll have a tab. Next one you'll have space bar also, you can name it. And next up you'll have something like delete, then return, and then you have caps lock. Since I'm not able to see the next key, I'll just press OK and just scroll it again and make sure the keys are visible for me to rename. And then once caps lock is done, I'll select this thing again, I'll press plus and make sure this item number and here the layer number matches. You can see I have missed something here, so I can clearly, but I'll fix that now. So what I'll do is I'll just go back this from 1 to till 49 till 38 we have command. So till 38 layer I have command. After 39 layer we have option, and 39 control, and then 37 is command. Okay, what I missed then? I might have not added any of the some of the layers here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So G is 26. Oh, it should be 27 layer actually. So here I missed something. My bad. A B C D E F G. Okay, I missed G here clearly. That happens. G. So E F G. So I'll go back to the key control again, and I'll go back to the drop down menu. So here you can see this, the caps lock and the icon should match. The number beside the caps lock and the number beside this icon layer should match clearly. So that should not go wrong here. So that's what I made the mistake, and I just debugged it, and that's how it is done. So once caps lock is done, so next one will be, we have eject button. So some of you might need or some of you might not need. I'm just making sure that we have all the icons. And then next one will be FN, function button, and then up arrow,
it's 23 hours,
and next down arrow, and next left arrow, and next right arrow. And afterwards we'll add F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8, F9, F10, F11 and F12. So again make sure that this 65th layer for F12 matches here also, 65th layer of F12. So after that I have some of the icon, that is plus, and then minus, and equal, forward slash backward slash and apostrophe, and just before that I'll just scroll it down and then I'll just edit again, scroll it down. After 71st layer I have close parenthesis, that is square, and close parenthesis and open parenthesis, and then colon, and then I have a apostrophe, then comma, then point, then tilde. And here you can clearly add any of the icons you want. So it doesn't have to be same as like this. Just make sure that you name the items properly from in the drop down menu from the text layer, so it just matches exactly like that. So whenever you select any of the keys here from this drop down layer, it just appears here. So let's do that logic here. So what I want you to do is just copy the expression which I'll show you here. So I'll just go back to the key one. So I have some expressions here, that is for the opacity expression. I have one expression. So this is the expression. Just copy and explain it to you here. So select this layer and press T, and just beside the stopwatch icon of this opacity, click that holding option. So paste the expression here, and I'll edit that expression now. So what will happen here is, so in this selected means selected in the sense what we are selecting. So what we are selecting is from this comp layer, when the key control, this layer key control, from key control I'll just rename it to key underscore control. Make sure that these are case sensitive, and you'll have to write exactly what is there on this layer, and then it will search through the effect of this key control. And then on this effect there is a layer effect called selected key, and that property is menu, that is drop down menu property. So here what is happening, the index in the sense the number, the layer number. So when the selected index from this drop down key is, it might be 1 2 3 4 5 6 indexes, then the value is, then it will return to the value. If it is not equal to that index, then it will return to 0 in the sense opacity will be 0. So what happening here is, you'll have to enter this expression exactly as it is if you are using the same name as this comp which I used. So if you are not, then you'll have to change the layer name, so that is key comp underscore 01, and there will be key control, that is key control layer from this thing, and the selected key, that is the selected key name of this effect here. So that effect is menu, and then it will be allowed to select the menu from this effect, and then when we select any of the index here, that time it will appear. For example, I'll just test it here. So if you want to select A, that time you can see that it will appear here. I'll just disable this shape layer only. So you can see, if I'm just enabling this thing, the key control, if I select something else, it will disappear. So if I select only A, that time A will be appear. So this is how this logic works. So what I want you to do is, I will select opacity, not the layer. I'll select this effect and I'll just right click, and you can see here copy expression only. So I will just copy this expression, then I'll select all of these layers, and then I'll just press command V, so that it will paste that particular opacity expression onto the all layers of the opacity expression. Got it? So once you are done that, so now it's time to test. So now if you're selecting A, If it is returning A, then the expression is working good. When you select something like R, then expression is will return to R, so that time it means it's working well. You can text to everything, for example command or so on like that. So why this command is not working for me is this expression is different here. Since, and you can see the color of this command is different. So what I'll do is I'll just select this E and go to expression, copy expression only, and I'll just select all of this and paste the same thing on this. So what will happen, so it will take the expression value from there. The same like that, same for size I'll just copy expression only. Since I had copied from the other master comp, other key comp, I'm doing this thing. You don't have to do this thing. Please listen, you don't have to do this thing, because you'll be doing it from the fresh and you'll be duplicating the layer from the first layer which we did, that is A. So I'm just doing this because I missed out doing that thing here. Okay, that's why I don't like to copy it from the key one, since it will take a lot of time, it will need a lot of time, so I don't want to do that thing in live stream and bore you here. So next up, once you are done this thing, it's good to test everything, every key if possible, that is upward arrow, F12 or something like that, some randomly you can select, and if it is working properly, then it means your this logic is working. So congratulations for that, and you have finished almost 60% to 70% of this project. So next up, what I want you to do is, this part is done, so this key comp job is done now. So now let's go back to the master comp. Sorry, I just missed out one more thing here. So that is, we are not adjusted now. What has happened is these letters are done now, the key texts are done. So I'll just press this shy icon here, so that when I press this shy hide layers, so it will hide all the layers, so that I can just concentrate on these two layer, that is shape layer. I'll just rename it as key background or just key. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just press this icon and just open up the contents and rectangular path, stroke and fill. So what I'm going to do here is I'll again go back to my old comp, master comp, and press E. Here I have some expressions over here. So one expression for the size that I'll just copy, and which there is already, I'll add one of the file for you, all the expressions, so you can just copy from that file. And once you see the size here, I don't want you to add the size anywhere else. I just want you to add that expression on this size. So once you press option on your keyboard and click on this size stopwatch icon, I want you to paste this thing. So once you paste, your work is not done. I want you to rename this exact comp name that you had named, that is master comp, next style, next the key width and key height can be same if you are named same as mine. So here I'll do one thing, I'll just keep some of the values as default. So if I want the key width, stroke width to be 10 and the radius to be 20, I'll make this key width to be some 2 or 5 and column radius to be 20 and key height to be somewhere around 200 pixels and width to be same as that, and then key opacity to be 100%, and the text size I have already added 100, so I'll not touch that thing. So I'll go back to the key comp and I'll just check what's gone wrong. So here you can see there is a caution mark. So inside the style effect there is key width slider. So you'll have to check inside the master comp, and in the style you have to see key weight I added. So by mistakenly I added key weight. Instead of that I want you to add key width. So that is the right. So once you press on the key width, you will see this expression will execute normally. So here key width means the width of the key, and the height means height of the key. So it will return to the exact value as 200 which we had set here. So if we change the values to something like 250 by 250, here also it will change to by 250 by 250. So exactly as those values. If you want to make it something change, you can see it will become slimmer. So I'll just undo that thing, and I'll keep these values as 200 by 200. Then I'll just go back to my own master comp, key comp, the older one. Then I'll copy the expression for the roundness and I'll paste it here. So while adding expression to the roundness, same as before, hold option on your keyboard and press this stopwatch icon. Once you paste this, again you'll have to change the comp name, that is master comp, then the style. I didn't name this master and style as this before, because sometimes the After Effects can pull the pull the properties from the older comps. So I don't want it to do that, so I just change the name of the comp purposefully. So I want you to do the same thing. So I don't want you to make the mistakes like what we are doing here. So in this tutorial actually what we are doing is we are learning from the mistakes exactly to be. So next one, I'll go back to the key one and then select the color property, and then I'll just copy this expression and paste it here on the color, that to stroke color. So once you click on the option and then drop down here, drop your expression here, you can see the color stroke. So if you can't see the color stroke, instead of that, if you are seeing fill stroke in this expression, then please you will have to put that expression into this fill column. So now we are here working on the stroke. So what I'll do is I'll change this master to master comp, then style to style, and then same as it is. So instead of here, you can see there is a mistake in this third line, that I remember that I always spell it as COLOUR, so I always type as COLOUR. So here where I'm typing as COLOUR. So once I click outside of this expression window, then you can see this color has been changed. Same like that only you can do. You can just copy from here and just press, instead of stroke width, I'll just add instead of stroke color, I'll just add fill color, and it will return to this thing. So most probably here same, instead of fill color, I'm not sure what I added to key color. So I'll just change this fill to key. So now you'll have this expression returning properly. So since there are some red colors already in that, so I'll just change the key color to something like darker and stroke color to something brighter. So now you can see here that has completely changed, or you can change it to anything other way around, that's okay, anything is fine, whichever suits well for you. The next one, I want you to change one more thing, that to opacity. So in opacity there is one more expression for the opacity. So I'm not just selecting the opacity from this transform menu, not this opacity, because I always want the stroke to be visible. So instead I want sometimes the background of this key, that is the fill color, to be transparent. So what I am doing is I am adding that expression on the fill drop down. So here when I press and hold option and click on the stopwatch icon, I'll have a expression editor. That time I'll just change, instead of master to master comp, and style to style, and there is key opacity. So now let's see. Okay, LE. So now this will return to the value. So if I try to change any key opacity to 4% or something like that, you can see the value returning here. So make sure that you are not adding the opacity expression on this transform menu. Instead, you are adding into a fill menu. So let's check how many expressions we have added. By double pressing E on your keyboard, you will see all the expression added onto that tab. So that is, one is size controlling, that to width and height of the key, and the roundness, how much round the key you want, and the color of the stroke, and the color of the fill color, that to key color, and the key opacity. Next up, I'll just check again to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So we have a stroke width, color, stroke color, and the opacity, and as it is roundness and color. Perfect. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5. I guess I missed something here. Let's debug. That looks interesting. I like to debug things. I like to do this kind of trial and error work all the time. This is not new for me though. Okay, I missed out adding in stroke width actually. So I added the roundness but not the stroke width. So instead I'll just go back to this thing and I'll just select the stroke width and copy this expression, and I'll just add it to the stroke width expression. And here same as before, go to master comp, and then for layer you'll have to add style, and stroke width will be added. Now you can see the stroke width has been changed. So this was before, and I added to 20 or so. Now you can see the width is little thick. And if you go back to the master comp and change the width to something around 5 or 10 and the opacity around 100, you'll have the changes appear immediately. So this is about the key building. So once you're done, you can just hide those things so that nothing is visible and nothing you're distracting. Then go back to the master comp, and here you'll have to add some of the things. We are almost there at the finishing level. So what I want you to do is, here in the master comp I'll be adding 5 keys. So first, before that, I'll add this comp 01 to this master layer, master comp, and then I'll add one expression for this. So before that, I want you to add this comp to the exact left of the left alignment. So I'll just left align this, and then I'll duplicate it 4 times. So you can adjust however you want as of now. It doesn't has to be precise. So now once you added that thing, I want you to add an expression. So since we have added a gap here, the gap is between the distance between 2 keys, so there is one expression for that. So I'll go to master, just enable this thing, and I'll just press 2 times E on this. So I'll just add opacity value for all these keys. I'll just copy this expression, and go to the master comp and press T on selected layer and press this value. So I'll just have to edit some of the things. Since you can see this layout is in a small letter and this is here in a big letter. So from this comp, I want you to select the layout and then visible keys, and then from menu it has to be directed to the index value. So now you can see, if from the layout, if key 1 selected, key 1 will be appear. If something else is selected, key 2 will disappear. So we are not done yet here. So I want you to copy this expression, or you can just copy by pressing copy expression only and then press command V. So now once you added those expression, you will see all the keys disappearing in this. So what is happening here is, from the layout we have selected only key 1. If you select key 2, 2 keys will be visible now. If you select 4 keys, 4 keys will be visible, and same as 5 keys. But we are not done yet here, since we have to adjust the distance between the keys. Correct? So what we are doing is, now we have to add a expression for all these 4 comps next to the first comp. So first comp will be at the same layer, same place, not the same layer. So now I'll just copy the expression, that too I'll just press P, and here I had given expression. I'll just add this into a description box below. Go to the master comp and select the second key comp, then press P on my keyboard to open up the position property, and I'll just add an expression here. So what will happen here, this control will be equal to this comp layer, and from this comp layer we are picking the property from the layout layer. Now we'll have to change some of the things. So here you can see, from control this comp dot layout, we have a gap. That effect is picked up from the slider named gap. So now from which comp? So the comp will be the master comp. The comp will be the master comp, and then the style will be style, and key width, key slides, and everything as it is. So here you can see there is some issue. So this comp layer means, from this comp I want you to select this comp layer. So if you just copy this, and you'll have to paste it here. Alright, so once you are done like that, now you can see this layer automatically adjusting, and you cannot change the layer anyway. Just instead of changing it to vertically, you cannot change it to the horizontally. You cannot change the Y value of that layer. You can just change the X value, Y value of layer, but you cannot change the Z X value of this layer. I'm sorry that I'm making a lot of mistakes while repeating that thing. And the same thing, I want you to copy this expression from this second layer and paste into all these 3 layers. But instead of that, what I'll do, I'll just copy this expression only and paste it into all 3 layers. Once I press E on the keyboard, it will open up the position expression. So here I want you to rename from comp, since you can see here all the layer have moved to the second position of this comp. So what I want to reference the comp to be the second comp here. So what is doing is, this layer is referencing the value from the second comp. And hold on, we are not done yet, and again from this we are picking it from the third layer on the fourth comp. Now what we are doing is, we are picking up from the fourth layer to the fifth comp. So I know we are having a caution and this is not done yet, so I'll just have to close all the expression tab. So I'll go back to the project tab now. So what I'll do is, instead of rebuilding this comp 5 times, I'll just duplicate this comp 5 times, actually 4 times. keeping the original one. So I'll just duplicate 1 2 3 4. So we'll have 5 comps here. Now what I'm doing is I'll be replacing these comps. So first layer will be as it is, since that is the original comp. Now what I'll do is I'll select the second comp, and here also in select the second comp from the project, and while holding option I'll drag that comp onto this. So what it will do is it will replace that comp from the first comp. Now take this third comp and here select the third layer, same replace by holding option. Now select the fourth comp here and replace as it is, and same as like that replace the fifth comp also. So once you are done like that, you can notice all the keys have arranged in a row. So now when you press the source name, you will get the layer name visible. So what is happening here is the source name is the source name, actual name of from this project panel, and the source name layer names are the names you have renamed. For example, you can see this is the source name of the null layer that I have sourced from, since I had duplicated here, and this is the layer name. So once we are here, so what it will happen is if you move the layer A, everything will move here. So no matter where it goes, this will be linked, but it will be linked only in x-axis, not in the y-axis. So since we are not controlling y-axis here, so I thought the y-axis might not be that necessary. So I'll just undo this thing, I'll just keep it here. So next up, we are almost done here. So once you select the style and layout, so by just 2 layers we have did so much. So now what I'll do is I'll just animate the key, this first key. So here animation parts begin. So till now we had just built a logic how the keystroke works. Now what I'll be doing is I'll just animate this key, how this key should be appear and disappear in the tutorials or any kind of animation. So I'll just select this first layer and press yes on my keyboard to add this scale animation, and then I'll press stopwatch icon on the side and just go some 30 frames further and press one more keyframe, and just by pressing J I'll just jump to the previous previous keyframe, and by pressing K I'll just jump to the next keyframe. So just by pressing J on your keyboard, change the size to some 0. So once you just RAM preview that thing, you will see animation going on. Since in my last video I had showed you how to change this linear animation to some easy ease thing. So just by selecting this keyframe, you can just press F9 on your keyboard, it will easy ease, or you can just right click and go to keyframe assist and then easy ease them. So once you are easy ease, go to the graph editor, you can easy ease however you want, but I want to take you one step beyond. So what I want to is, instead of just appearing, I want this key to give a subtle overshoot. Overshoot means, what I mean is, like, I'll just jump to 10 frames further by pressing command shift right arrow and left arrow. I am just jumping 10 frames further. If you want to jump single frame further, just hold command on your keyboard and jump, or you can, if you are on a full size keyboard, you can jump by page up and page down also.
It's 23:30.
So since I'll just press J and just take 10 frames, I'll jump to 10 frames, I'll just press this icon again and I'll select all keyframes and press F9 to easy ease them, and I'll not notice here I'm not changing any values here. I'll just keep it to 100 and this also 100. I'll just select this keyframe, go to the graph editor. Here you have all 3 games. I'll just right click on this keyframe, this panel, and go back to the edit value graph. Here you can see this is the value graph. So I'll just zoom in a bit so that I can show you nice and clean. So when you select this keyframe, you will see the curve handles. So I'll just change this curve handle like this. So that what it happens is, this whenever is scaling up, it scales up to 100% and overshoot a bit about 105% or so, and then come back to the 0% and gets little smaller, that to 95%, and then come back to its resting space. So you can change it however you want. You can edit this graph something like this. So once you are done that thing, now ramp preview this. You will see a slightly overshoot here and then go back to its normal voice. So this adds little authenticity on the animation. It feels little normal, like came to life, because in real life nothing just comes at stop at immediately. So if you are moving in a car, you won't go at to zero stop immediately. You will just go little forward and just shoot yourself back on your seat. So that's what is happening here. It's just overshooting a bit. So same as like that. So what I'll do is here, I'll just copy this expression, keyframes, and paste it on all these things. So what I'll do is here, I'll just open up the keyframes by pressing U on my keyboard. So I'll select all 5 layers from top to bottom, not from bottom to top. So make sure the file selection also, it is important to select in which order it wants to work. So now select from top to bottom by pressing command and option. You will see this icon on your cursor. So you'll have to just drag this a bit so that it will align, offset all the layers accordingly. So this is the tricks if you want to offset the keys, offset the animation however you want. So you can see now the keys appear one by one. Instead of appearing all at once, it will appear one by one. I'm feeling this overshoot is a little bit exaggerated. So instead what I'll do is I'll just edit a bit. I'll just reduce this overshoot a bit, making it look little subtle. Instead of overshooting it to somewhere around 105%, I'll just make it overshoot little bit. Now I'll just ramp over this thing. Okay, this works though for me. Just give a bit more. Yep, that works well. So what is happening here is just slowing slowly and picking up the speed, and immediately it overshoots and just come back to, just before coming back to its resting position, it will shrink back a bit and then come back to its resting position. This is what happening in this keyframe. Now I'll just copy these keyframes and take my playhead here and then paste it on this. So now before I add anything, I'll just take my playhead to 30 frames and then holding these all layers in order, I'll just change its offset values like this. So now this is the in of this animation. Now to take it out, close it, I'll just do one thing. I'll just copy these two keyframes, and just below, just before the ending of, I'll just paste it. Now you can see this is happening something else, but we are not done yet here. There is one trick. Instead of you manually going back and placing like this, and this thing will happen. So instead of that, just select these keyframes and go and reverse keyframe time. So what it will do is, it just supposed to do this thing, but sometimes this does things. So what I'll do is I'll select all the keyframes and select this and reverse keyframe. Now you can see it stays intact at its scale. So just before it goes back, it overshoot a bit. So what I'll do is I'll just delete this middle keyframe and take those two keyframe, F is ease, then go to the last keyframe and add this thing and come back to 30 frames just before, add this expression. So what will happen, it will smoothly close. So if you want to add little bit value to that, I just want you to change this curve like this, so it will close it like this. So you can see this one keyframe working like that. So what I'm going to do is copy this keyframe and just go to this playhead and paste it on all keyframes, all layers. Now I'll just shorten this animation to around some, okay, let it be here only. So now let's ramp this thing. Now this is working well, but I know things are not done yet. So what is happening here is we have not changed any value of these keys. So to do that, just before changing the values, what I'll do is, instead of rebuilding things again and again, I'll just go to window and select essential graphics here. So once you select essential graphics here, I want you to go to the primary. Since it's already done here, I cannot register, so I'll just go to the primary, and in that just select the comp which you are named as a master comp. So once you select that thing, it will clear up the things. So here give it a name. So what do you want to give the name for this essential graphics? For example, I'll name it as keystroke generator tutorial. So once I name that thing, so now here I want you to do some of the things. So before going to the essential graphic, I want you to give the motion blur for all the layers, just to be safer, and enable shy for these layers and hide them, because we don't need those things as of now. And same thing you can do here. You can enable all the layers and give it to this, nothing gonna do here, so just to be safer side. Then go to master comp, and here what I want you to do is first select the layout. So when you select the layout, I want you to press E on your keyboard so that it will show up the effects applied onto this layer. So you can see there is a gap and there is a visible key menu. So I want you to select this menu and drag it on to this blank space, so it will add a effect or a property on this essential graphics. So here you can select 1 key, 2 key, 3 key, 4 key, or whatever key you want, how much ever key you want. So this is where this controls the whole composition. Means essential graphics is controlling the whole composition of yours. So here what you are doing is, once you drop down the visible key, you can rename it to whatever you want. Since I had renamed the thing already, so I don't want to change anything here, so it will work as smooth as possible. So next one, the gap, I'll select, drag this slider also as a gap, and then I'll go to styles and again press E on my keyboard and just open up this style properties and change it to the key color. I mean, drag this key color here. The next one, again do the stroke color same, next stroke width same, just give me a moment. I'm just checking the stream status. Perfect. So after the key stroke width, I'll go to the corner radius and drag the slider here, and then key height, drag the slider again here, and the key height again, I mean key width and key height, then key opacity, then text size, and then text color. Notice Notice here we have added all the effects, but there is one more uh, drop down to be added. That is the from the key comp, which key has to be selected at that particular comp. For example, I'll just open up key comp 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 one by one, or by selecting all and pressing one time it will open everything. So go to the key comp 1 first, then press key control and press E on your keyboard. Then from this drop down you have to select this menu and drop it just below the visible key. So next one, here again same, press E on your keyboard. From the key comp 02 you have to drop. So make sure that you are not adding the same effect from the same single comp. You'll have to duplicate and then you'll have to add from each comp. So again select this key control, press E on your keyboard, drop down and then add this, and for same for the fourth, select E and key comp 5, press E on your keyboard and then do the same thing. So notice that we have all the 5 keys, but selected key, selected key, selected key, selected key doesn't make sense. So if you are looking at glance once, so instead of that, what I want you to do is, instead of selected key, rename this thing. So 1 key 1, here key 2, I'm sorry, key 2, key 3, key 4, key 5. So notice that I have added the name for the key 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So just before setting up the next thing, what I'll do is I'll go to master comp and notice here. So notice the things that when you select the visible key 1 or 2, now you will appear as input as you give. So key 3, for key 4, 4 keys, and for key 5, 5 keys. And the next one, for key 1, whatever you want to select, you can select, that is command. So notice that it has changed for the only particular that composition, not for all the keys. So notice the second one will be shift, third one will be tab or something, fifth one will be whatever the hell I want, and fifth one will be anything. So whichever the keystrokes you might be using, that you can edit here. So next up, you can change the gap also. The gap is the distance between two keys, so how much ever you want. For example, I'll just keep it to 20 as of now, that is 20. And then if I want to change the key color, I can change it here as so. And then if I want to change the stroke color, that also I can change it here. I'm just undoing it after changing. Then if I want to change stroke of this, then that also I can change. Again, the corner radius, you can see here the corner radius also can be changed, and the width. So notice here, when we drag slider before and then even if you push back to this, it will stay to 100 value. So here there is one thing we need to do. So that is, we have to add the range for this all the values. So here notice key opacity can be 0 to 100. There is nothing beyond the 100 value. So the text size also I have added it to 100% is the maximum size and the 0% is the 0. So nobody wants it to be a 0%, right? Because by mistakenly if you press 0 and you think that there is no keys only. So instead of that mistake, I wanted to do one small changes. So you can see here text color also can be changed. So I'll just add some ranges for all the slider properties. So which means this range should not go beyond its property. notice here, if I add the 100% gap, 100 pixel gap, the fourth key is jumping out of the composition. That should not happen. Even if you add the 60 or 70%, only half of the composition is visible, half of the keyframe is visible in this. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll go to edit range. From instead of 100, what I'll do is I'll add, instead of 100, what I'll do is I'll just check how much gap might work here. So gap is working around 35 pixels. So what I'll do is I'll just add it to 35. Or one thing I'll do, one great thing I thought, that I'll just leave it as 100. It doesn't matter, because if you want gap to be 100, you can always resize the width of the thing. Perfect. So for width, I'll edit the range. I'll take from the slider range from 0 to 300. So what you'll notice here, what will happen, the range of the slider will change. Instead of just being at last at 100, it will become, it can grow to 300. Alright, so if I press OK, this width of this will be 300. But there is one issue happening. This width is cutting abruptly here. This is because, do you remember that we have added only the comp size of this key comp 01 is 300 maximum. So to check the property of this comp, I'll just press command K on the keyboard. You can see here width and height are 300. So make sure that this width should not go beyond this comp. So what I'll do, I'll just limit this comp to around 280. So by that, what will happen, if you want to increase the size of this key width, it should not go beyond the actual comp, and it should not show any kind of abruption or cuts here. Correct? So I'll just edit back to 200. And if you don't want to make it to 0, you can add limit for that too at the beginning value. I'll just add the slider range from 50 to 280. So it will not shrink it below 50 pixels. Same as that, I'll also add this thing 550 to 280 max. So same as for the height also will not go beyond 280 and will not go beyond 50. So that is the thing by adding the range. So I'll just edit these values back to 200. And for key opacity, I'll keep it as from 0 to 100, because opacity works with the percentage, not by the pixels. And for the text size, what I'll do is, instead of just making it to 0, I'll just add some value around 10 to 200. So 200 just because if I want to change the value above 100, I can even change it to up to 200. That is the maximum value I can add. So now if it is 150 means this much, but I will keep the default value as 100 as it is. Now comes the gap. So gap I'm adding beyond 100 just because if you want to change the width of this thing, it will adjust automatically. And even if you want more than 100, you can add in the range, or you can directly add a value around 150. It might work. So you can directly change the range. So what I'll do is I'll just give as a 10 and key width to 200, and gap I'll just increase to 20 or so. I guess 10 was working well. Since stroke width, I'll reduce it to 5. Gap will be, yeah, this looks good for me as of now. And I'll just decrease the text font to 80% to look elegant and minimal. Now you can ramp preview this thing. So now last one more thing I want to do. We are almost at the end of this live stream. So I'll just select this visible key. Just below that, I'll just press this drop down menu, instead of add formatting, I'll just add a group. So what I'll do here is I'll just move this group to the top. I'll name it as key custom, that is key customization, and I'll add these values just below this drop down, so that I'll make a group of these keys. So next up, I'll just add one more thing, that is add group, and I'll just name it as style. Style in the sense whatever style you want to give to this key, that properties will go under this style drop down. So when you just close this drop down, it will be very much clear for you. So next up, you just allow to make a poster here. You just have to set the poster time, so it will appear here. So if you want to export this comp to reuse again and again, and if you are using Premiere Pro to edit your videos, and if you are having a subscription, then what you can do is you can export the motion graphic template and directly import into your Premiere Pro, so that you can reuse the template again and again without duplicating the template and without exporting them. Since most of the time I use DaVinci Resolve, so that doesn't support motion graphic templates. So what I do is I just select the keys I need, that to, for example, three keys. Then if I want to add a keyframe animation as Command Shift and V for paste, it is Command Shift V. Then what I'll do is I'll just select the three keys and make the adjustment, whatever the adjustment I want. Then I'll just RAM preview once if I needed, else I'll just directly select, go to file, and then press add to render queue to export the file, or else I can directly press Command Shift E to export this and add to render queue. So just before we render it into a, since you notice this, we have made this file as a transparent file without adding any background. So here if I'm toggling the transparency, you can see the transparent layer is still there. So if you want to export this layer into a transparent layer, then once you go to render queue, you'll have to go to the output model. So in output model, select, instead of format H.264, you'll have to select the QuickTime, and then instead of the channel RGB, you'll have to select RGB alpha. So once you select the RGB alpha, you will have the format as Apple ProRes 4444. So that will make sure that you render in the highest quality with the transparency layer attached. Same as the PNG, but PNG is for the photo, and the alpha RGB Apple ProRes 4444 for video, the transparent video, and press OK. Then you'll have to select the comp wherever you want. So you have to select the output to and save it to wherever you want. So for example, I have made a folder dedicatedly for this keystrokes. So once I keystroke it, and then go to the create a folder as keystroke or anything you want, and then press save, and you can rename this comp to anything like command plus shift plus and V. So notice one thing here, I have added shift here, plus. So notice one thing here, that I have added plus icons here, but I didn't add any plus icon here. So to do that plus icon adding here, that I will be doing it into my next live stream. So as of now, this is much. because it's been more than 2 hours of live stream. It started at 10 o'clock and it's almost up to 12 o'clock. So I don't wanted to make this live stream still more longer by adding and debugging the plus symbol and minus symbol or whatever you want. So instead of that, I wanted to make this keystroke animator as simple as possible with very basic and beginner friendly tool, so which you can reuse again and again in your future projects. So I just don't wanted you to create it manually every time. So instead of that, for Premiere Pro users, this is much more beneficial. For people like me who completely means 100% relies on the DaVinci Resolve, it will be very much difficult to use the motion graphic template. So instead of that, what I do is I just export all the alphas whichever I mostly use. Then I just import that thing into the DaVinci Resolve software and then add it wherever I want. So this is it, guys. This is it. So this is how I build, and this is not the only project that I have done. So there are so many projects like this I have done for myself. I have made my life simpler, easier, because most of the time lot of people will be reusing we will be reusing the template again and again and again and again. So every time we don't have to go back to the After Effects and change the things and make the things and then import back to the Premiere Pro and do things. Instead of that, what we do is we build a system or a template and then we export into a motion graphic template, so that any editor can use that motion graphic template without the knowledge of they having After Effect knowledge. So by doing this kind of projects, I actually learn a lot of things. So this is actually the first live stream of me doing like this live, and I know that I have made a lot of mistakes while working and speaking, because I cannot concentrate speaking while working. So that is one of the biggest disadvantage of me. But yeah, I'll go through that thing. I learn through things, and this has been a very good tutorial so far for me. And this is how I work every day, and this is what I do every day: building templates, handing it over to some other editor, and building templates and giving it to the clients and something to make their life easier instead of doing repetitive work. So you noticed how this system will build and give it a control to make a lot of changes instead of jumping back into After Effects again and again from the Premiere Pro if you are editing any of the videos or tutorials in your Premiere Pro. So in your case, if you are using Premiere Pro, this will be 100% helpful, and in my case this has also been a lot helpful for me. I have been exported a lot of keystrokes. Instead of me directly giving you a keystroke package and you not able to change any settings in that, so I thought why not just build for live, and so that the beginners also can learn how the expressions can be applied, how it can be expression can be triggered, the effects, and how the layer can change things, and the basics of this After Effects. So I hope you all have learned something from this video and something from this live stream, and if you have learned something, that's very appreciated. And if you are like this video, I have a small request: you to just like this video and share it to anybody whoever does this After Effects things and want to learn
It's 0
anything from
hours.
the After Effects and want to learn anything from me, and it will be very much grateful. And if you have any kind of recommendation in future, please let me know in this comment box. And also I'll be open for any kind of Q&As, any kind of topics. I can talk on cameras, I can talk on videography, I can talk on lenses or After Effects or DaVinci Resolve. And I'm not that much using Premiere Pro, but I'm not at all forgotten Premiere Pro completely. But if you have any request on about Premiere Pro, please let me know that thing also. I can do that thing. And this is the small thing. Today whatever we have learnt is a very small topic, and still there are a lot of things. This is here only we are using only two comps and duplicated comps, that's it. But in real life we will be using hundreds of comps, hundreds of layers, and hundreds of keyframes. That time it will become lot difficult. So keep in mind that renaming and doing things properly in the first place will make you do mistakes very less. Instead of like after finishing the project you debugging the layer and layer names, and it will be very difficult. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comment box whichever the topic you want in the next video. I'll be open to talk about other topics. And thank you for commenting, and thank you for being here till now. And I hope you loved this video, and please subscribe to my channel, and please recommend our channel to everybody else. Thank you. See you on my next video.